So, welcome, one and all. Let me switch over here, and we are in. How is everyone doing today?
Oh, pretty good. Just chilling. 4 day
Oh,
weekend.
good.
D&D, what's not to like?
Alrighty. Last time we left
Yeah, D and
off,
D. Mm.
you guys opened the door to Dante's father,
Woo.
and Yen Sidrick basically going, "What the fuck?
Wait,
Where
Yen
have you
Sidrick's
all
here?
been?" Yes, he is. He is standing next to your father.
I don't remember that from last time. But wow.
Yeah, I don't
Okay,
remember that.
I
that just
remember
makes
I
a
didn't
lot
realize
saying
that
more.
it.
either.
I
I would have
remember.
reacted differently, I feel like.
I remember saying it. I don't know if it like clicked in your memory or not, but I have it written down. I
I don't
wrote it
remember hearing it.
down.
Fair enough. I guess two of
Well,
us pictured that he was alone.
Well, Keck probably
Yeah.
heard you say it, and then just innately thought that he actually wasn't there.
I
No,
definitely
he's not.
remember he was there.
Lost. You remember he was there? Wait, you weren't here. You.
Yeah.
He's like sucker.
God damn it.
just gotta turn all
I
of you down
immediately fell for it.
again.
This is why you need a new ship.
This is a good thing. Anyways, all right. So they um they usher you in. You sit down, and your father, your should I be still referring to him as your father? Question for Dante.
Your old daddy.
Yes, he's still my
Yes.
father, even if
Okay.
he's not the man that DNA'd me.
Okay. I
Daddy.
just want to be like 100% sure that I should still refer to him as such
Yeah,
because
he's still the man that raised me.
yes,
I'm
well,
just
I
adopted.
yeah.
Oh,
Anywho,
we're gonna make fun of you.
he
Oh
sits you
no.
down and he lets you know that you've all been missing for a week.
Oh, that's right. Dante and I were out playing around. That's right.
No, we've all been missing for a week.
Yeah, we just went out. That thing happened because you guys wouldn't stop playing with the rocks, and
I singular.
then we came back.
They
Yes.
were interesting rock.
It was a very interesting
Dorsal, in
one.
his fashion, wanted to
But
know
we've
everything
been
about
gone
them.
only for a day. What?
I didn't think it was a whole day, was it?
Half
No,
a day.
we stayed a night. We stayed a night.
Oh yeah.
But it hasn't been like a full 24 hours for us, I think. Maybe.
Where is it?
I don't know. Apparently it's been a week.
So it's like, oh, we've been gone
Where
for a
have
week, huh?
you all been? This is coming from Yen Sidrick.
Dorsal steps forward. He's like, all right, well, this is mostly my fault. Uh, we found this. I found this cool rock with this symbol on it that was glowing. So naturally, I
And
wanted
then there
to.
was a portal.
Yeah, then I wanted to keep it, but I couldn't get out of the ground. And then I had to go get Dante, and then we went and got some other people, and then we tried to lift it out of the ground, and we still couldn't. And then the glow went away when Dante touched it, and a portal opened up in the air, and then Dante and I decided we were going to continue to try to get the thing, and
What was the
uh,
shape of the portal?
uh,
What was the shape of the portal?
I don't think we went over that.
It was like a tear, wasn't it?
Hmm.
I don't remember.
I'm just
me
going to
What
show
was the
Yen
shape of the
Sidrick the
portal?
symbol
What?
that was on the rock,
Hmm.
because I've been using prestidigitation to
keep it awake.
keep the symbol on my
Well,
arm so I can go find out.
pieces of this I can say are. Well, you've been doing this for a long. You've been going back and trying to do this from memory, but your memory has, it seems to be rough around the edges.
I tell Yen Sidrick, ask ask Glowy Eyes. He told us to run from it, so I'm assuming he knew what it was.
Yeah, Nox is looking very jittery.
What did you see?
I couldn't read all of it, but what I did said killer of planes. And when the first rock was moved, it just said run underneath it.
Interesting. Do you remember what that symbol looked like? I kind of want to learn what it meant. Knox.
I-
These are not your typical runes. These symbols which you have prescribed on yourself are written in a language that's, well, mostly lost to time.
Are there books on it? What's the name of the language? I'm very curious.
As for the name, it is also lost.
Are there books? Where could I
No.
find them if there aren't? Who could I talk to?
There is one man who might be able
What's his name?
to do this.
Dorsal's instantly curious. Is it
Give me
Crimson?
1 second
Can we go
to
visit
pull
the
up.
dragon again?
Give me 1 second to
Is it
pull up
me?
his name. His name
Is it
is
me?
Lance Chelthor.
That must be my dad.
No, he is not your father. I can say that in great confidence.
Where do we find him?
Well, finding him is easy. Surviving the way there is, well, more tricky.
I'm good with that.
Anyways,
Wait, where is he?
Yeah, where is he?
What area? What country?
Yen Sidrick looks at your father at this point with sort of a look of permission. And your father nods.
Dorsal looks over at Dante. If your dad says no, oh, you're gonna be in trouble when we leave this room.
Someone's getting grounded.
He nods and
And
sorry.
oh yeah,
I was
that's
just
off
reading
my-
I was reading something else. Caught my attention. He nods and Yen Sidrick says he is within the village of Graves.
Is that the
You
Shadowy
were-
Island area?
Told to stay away from that by you.
Yes.
Both of
'Cause I'm
you
100%
told us
ready to
stay
go
away.
now.
In order to go into the village, you will need certain preparations.
Dorsal's super excited. He's ready to go. He'll do whatever preparations are necessary. He just wants
It
to roll.
will take time for us
Uh,
to do these preparations. In the
These are magic
meantime,
items?
Dorsal suddenly became less excited about the time frame.
it will take
Unless it's magic items.
it will take a little time. I will have to stay here if we were to do anything. In the meantime, there is the matter of something else. Nox. I had mentioned before. Do you remember what I mentioned before?
In our private conversation.
Yes.
Yes, I recall.
Would you like to do this now?
Is this a good time?
It will be a couple of days before we will be able to venture to the village. It seems a better time than waiting even longer. I do
Well, it would-
have the materials with me, just in
It would-
case you would like to.
Give me time to get my head around it.
Very well. Alright. In other news, I do have a report, if you will.
Or what about?
There are some things happening within this republic. And your father Dante's father kind of like grunts a bit.
Just out of curiosity, what was his name again? Your dad?
Oh, fuck. Blaze? I think it was Blaze.
I'm pretty sure it's in your backstory. I don't.
There is, but my
Blaze
thing
what?
is loading. Blaze and Furnace.
Oh, that's right. I'm just calling him Infernus, huh?
Yeah, last name.
And he's okay with it.
Captain Infernus.
That's right.
least
I just
haven't-
call him Infernus.
At least he hasn't attacked you yet.
Dorsal likes to think that everybody likes him, so he's not remotely concerned about any of that. That's why he made
Anyways,
friends with Crimson and talked to him.
we will be stuck here for a couple of days. Venture out, explore around the city if you would like. Yes. Yen Sidrick kind of looks to your father and is like, "Is there a place where I can set up?" And he nods and he's like, "Follow me, and I'll bring you to a chamber." And they exit.
Kek's gonna look up and be like, "Oh, you're busy. Darn."
You guys are left alone to your own devices.
Oh well.
I look at everybody.
Nox, wanna go
I'm
see
gonna
the
go
city?
explore around town. Maybe outside of the town.
geez.
Maybe I'll go look for cool things again, like that rock.
I'll go with.
Do not
Sweet.
touch any of those if you find them.
I'll just
don't
put.
wanna-
I'll start
I need-
making a map around if we find them.
I don't need to touch them. I just need some paper and like a pen or a pencil or some chalk or something of that nature. Do you have any of that around here, Dante?
They've never used a piece
Probably.
of paper here before.
We'll ask the butler.
Excellent.
Butler! Wait, what's the butler's name?
I don't know. What's the butler's name?
It's actually his name.
It's
not a title.
Alfred. His name's
Alfred.
Alfred.
Alright, his name's Alfred now.
Alfred!
Yes, sir.
Do we have any paper?
And chalk.
Yes. And he just goes over to the table, takes a piece of paper off from one of the little things that are in the middle, places it in front of you, and gets a piece of chalk and places it in front of you. Is
Can I
that
have,
all,
like, 10
master?
pieces of paper,
He
Alfred?
grabs the stack from the center and he brings it to you.
Thank you, Alfred.
You're welcome.
All right, Dorsal's happy now, so he's gonna wander off. Gonna go
Oh, wait for
explore.
me.
Oh, yeah. I'll hold up.
I'm gonna
It's
go
not
ask
because I'm a
about the
turtle.
boat.
It's because I got short legs.
That's okay. Dorsal's non-judgmental.
Sure.
Those sound related.
I'm gonna go ask about a boat.
Nox, come on, let's go. Let's go see the town.
All right.
Yeah, Nox would follow Keck.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Really?
Alrighty. Who's going into town? Who is Shag?
I'm
Yeah,
at
I
the
think
house.
I'll also go to the town along with Dante and Dorsey.
Okay. No,
I'm not going to
what's
the
going
town.
on?
Dorsal's not going to town. He's going outside town. He's going to go look around in the woods and shit.
Ooh.
Okay.
He wants to find some cool stuff.
Okay. What about Dante? He is also going with Dorsum, or?
No, I'm staying at the house. I'm gonna
Okay.
talk to my dad about a boat.
Nox,
Okay.
what are you doing?
I'd head off with Keck for a while. He's a bit distracted by what's happened and what's going to happen, so he just kind of wants to clear his head and keep moving.
Keck, were you going out with Dorsal?
Keck wanted to go into the town, talk to as many people as possible.
Ah, that's right. Okay. Jeez, we've split.
You don't have to if you don't want to. Like, it seems like we're just kind of exploring, but it doesn't like.
Well,
there's
I
anything
might
big to
corral
do.
you.
Oh dear.
I might corral you in some way, shape, or form. So I'm gonna go to Dante first. Dante, you go
Yep.
up and you come across the room where your father is helping Yen Sidrick set up,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just what they're doing. They're setting up. They
Okay.
don't even notice you.
Oh,
Papa. Hey, Dad.
Papa.
Yes, son. No,
Why
I'm
is
kidding.
he?
Yes. Because
The
you,
aristocratic pirate.
you said you
Yeah.
said papa before.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to ask you about the boat.
We can deal with that when you're leaving. Go off with your party. I'm sure there will be fun to have. And Yen Sidrick goes, oh wait, I'll have them come with me. I'm gonna need you all to show me where the rock was.
Dorsal is very excited about that because now he has paper in.
Sure.
So,
Let's go to
as
the rock.
the rest of you are about to leave
The
or
rock.
not leave, Yen Sidrick and Dante come down the stairs, and Yen Sidrick says, alrighty, are we all ready to go off to show me where this rock was?
Indeed. Indeed.
Alright. Show me
Oh,
the
yeah.
way.
All right. So, start heading out of town, heading to the rock.
To the rock.
We're gonna We're gonna go ahead and cross the very large bridge.
Once they walk for just long enough for there to be silence, Keck's gonna start pestering Yen Sidrick about if he's been flying anytime recently.
No.
He's
I
been
have
true
not.
polymorphed.
But for how
Oh.
long?
Dorsal's actually curious. He's gonna look at Yen Sidrick and ask him, so how's Crimson? That's the red dragon that I named.
Yeah.
There was silence, so.
No. I'm just. Can you just elaborate a little bit? Sorry, You've now confused me.
The last
Crimson
dragon
is
we
the
met,
red dragon.
he named.
Yeah,
Oh.
Dorsal I named him Crimson. I go,
Oh.
how's Crimson the dragon?
Oh. Okay.
We're good
Even
Yen
though that
Sidrick kind of
Yen's-
looks at you and like, who?
He named the dragon we delivered the message to.
Yeah, I talked to the dragon. We became friends. He said I could name him Crimson. So I
And
did.
Keck would tell him that actually. Yeah, he named the dragon we delivered a message to.
He's a lovely dragon, by the way. Very lovely.
I don't know. I haven't seen him in a long time.
I'm a
Oh.
little curious as to why you had us send a message to him and then you followed us.
I only came after you never returned.
Well, we
Patient,
returned. We
I
were just
see.
late.
No, I thought that was pretty clear. We were supposed to be back for time for school. School started.
Oh, did
Yes.
it? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were super late.
Yes, you guys have been very late.
We don't,
You get extra credit.
yeah, this
Nox
isn't
just points at Dorsal, like his fault.
Dorsal
Mhm.
looks at Nox and he goes, that's fair.
It's not entirely Dorsal's fault.
Oh, no, it 100% was.
Oh, also me.
Nox nods.
No,
Also me.
technically,
So, they were all sleeping and I was by myself. And, you know, curiosity and the cat, well, guess what? I'm curious.
well, how things
Never get to
should
be
have gone
unsupervised.
were you to go to the dragon, deliver the message, get back on the same boat, come back around, and you would have been back in a matter of days.
That's the point.
What
What happened
didn't
to our
happen
boat?
was you didn't board the same boat, and they decided to leave without you.
Seemed
Now
like the
eyeing
same
Dante
boat.
suspiciously.
Boat wasn't there. I don't know why though.
It seemed like the same boat. I mean, I don't know much about boats except they all look like boats.
Even I knew it wasn't the same boat.
Dorsal pays attention to none
You
of these.
did?
He's been living in the mountains by himself for like 40 years.
Alright, so boats go in the water.
Anyways,
Boat.
nightfall comes across, and you guys, the conversation kind of goes down a bit.
Do we
And
ever
you
figure out
guys
how long he's been a human
reach-
for?
I'm sorry?
Like having conversations with the guy, can we ever put together how long he's been a human for?
No.
Okay.
Also, you don't know entirely if he's human.
Well, we know he's a dragon.
Well, yes,
he
but
was.
his form, you don't actually know if he's entirely human or not.
It could be
Fair.
an elf.
I would like to actually ask him questions about dragons. So, Dorsal looks at everything from a mechanical engineering type standpoint. That's why he doesn't think much about boats beyond how they work. So now he's curious about being a dragon, how that works. How you fly.
I assume we talked to him like the whole time. We can just say that we did. But if he's gonna be pretty pierce-tongued on any information that might hint at how long he's not been a dragon for.
He's a little pierced tongue as to like how long he's been a human, how long he's been like a normal race for. As for like mechanical stuff, he answers like some of your questions as to how like dragons fly and stuff, and how they're able to like soar across the sky and like stuff like that. But he doesn't answer a lot of like personal questions.
Oh yeah, no, Dorsal doesn't ask him any personal questions. He's 100% all about the mechanic of being a
I
dragon.
meant more for the other people in the party.
Oh yeah.
Keck will join in super heavy on mechanical questions of flying.
Mm-hmm.
And as I would like to say that as he's answering these questions, I'm going to be writing everything down in my.
Okay.
So you guys come across your old campsite, and this campsite looks old.
Months old.
Not months old, but it is definitely covered with like a cobweb.
Oh no.
And like
I hope
some of your
There's
stuff
what-
that was left looks to be like scavenged by animals, maybe
What did we leave?
deer or other animals in the forest.
Oh, like little mounds that we slept on, or possibly stones to go around a fire.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
okay,
if there's leaves in our fire pit, then that doesn't happen. Literally.
I
overnight.
gotcha. Okay, cool.
If anyone wants to do any sort of check, they can do so.
I want to do a perception check to see if there is any animals
I'll
or
do
something
one.
like that nearby.
Wait. What type of roll did? Never mind. I accident. Whatever.
But sorry.
Never mind. I just ignore that.
I'd be curious to do survival to gauge time that's passed and build up of stuff.
Go ahead. So you know that
Yeah, fucking 23.
it's been a minute. Whilst you
A minute?
have only been gone, whilst you guys have only been gone for a week, this campsite looks to have been abandoned for like a month.
Ooh.
I would look at Yen Sidrick and be like, how is this possible?
He notices the same thing. And
We left here like yesterday.
yes, well, I have a theory, but I will need to see the rock first and the inscription firsthand.
Nox like eyes Saren suspiciously is like, and is a bit like, is this what traveling with a turtle is like?
Talking
Boy.
shit.
We've
You
traveled with
slowing
the
us
turtle
down
for a
more than we
while.
realized.
He's obviously cause.
We needed
Obviously the
Harangun to
cause.
balance it out.
Yeah, Dorsal would just like to look. I would just like to look around and kind of gauge like a rough estimate as to how old it is versus when we remember being there last. Because
Go
he's
ahead.
now curious about time and
I
all
will
that jazz.
require the same check of survival.
13.
So you notice that it's definitely longer than a week, but you don't know exactly the time frame.
All right, Dorsal's gonna write all that down.
Nox would be walking around like, as part of the search that he did, like just gauging dust and decay and overgrowth and things like that.
Mm-hmm. There's
You
not
wouldn't
much
understand if
like
you haven't watched
it's
grass
not more of decay. It's more of like leaves and like more like plant growth has happened. Some things are a little more overgrown, so there's not really like decay in the area, other than where like the fire was, because
Yeah.
burnt stuff, like char and stuff within where the fire was. But other than that, it's more plant growth. As you guys venture to where the stone was, you notice that the stone is fully earthed now.
So what?
It's
Like
fully
covered?
unearthed.
Ooh, nice.
And
Dorsal's gonna go over and he's gonna take a little drawing, or he's gonna take his piece of paper and put it over the glyph, and then use the chalk to
so the
Didn't the
part with the
glyphs
glyphs
vanish
is
when we
completely
unearthed
up
it?
now. The part with the glyphs is completely facing towards the sky. It is pretty smooth, almost naturally smooth, and it is in the shape of an oval.
Oh man.
Is there some kind of check we can do
Yes.
on the rock?
Yeah. Trying to think of what would be a good check though for it.
check.
Survival, Arcana. Survival or Arcana. It'd be the
I'm
two
gonna
that
go
I
with
would say.
survival.
16, and I'm gonna cast guidance.
Check wants to.
Wait, aren't dwarves don't they have a stone cutting thing so they feature so they have
For
good with
crafted
rocks?
stone.
No, it's
Yeah.
not crafting. It's for,
Any
yes,
worked stone, which I suppose with runes it kind of is.
would be
Yeah, I think I should have that. I don't
Yeah,
recall
Stone
what the-
cunning.
Yes, some ability or something like that I can look at stone and recall what that is for.
Nox, did you
Anything to
roll
do
another
with
survival
history.
check, or did you roll Arcana?
Oh, I can roll one if you want.
Oh no, I didn't. I
Didn't know that was aimed at me.
no, I didn't know if you were rolling or not. Okay,
There
well,
you go,
rolled
another
anyways.
23.
Okay, so for Solvis, Nox, Dante. Okay, for you three, with those survival checks,
I rolled Arcana with a guidance at 19, by the way.
I will get to the Arcana. The Arcana is something else.
Oh, okay.
They're two separate things. So at the survival rolls, you notice that this rock is unnaturally smooth. It is also not from this area. As you look around, the rocks and the small cliff sides that maybe give a little bit up where you can see the earth, they're all almost like a different color than the stone in front of you. This
area
stone
is
in
mostly
front of
sandstone.
you,
This is totally granite.
this stone in front of you is a much darker material and much darker rock than what is around you. It is almost artificially dark.
Ooh.
Now, for all the Arcana people, Dorsal, Saren doesn't make it for the Arcana. Is Dorsal the only one who did an Arcana that makes it?
I think so.
All right.
I can do an Arcana as well, but it probably yeah.
Gesh wanted to fly up and see if there was anything wrong with the sky where the portal had been.
Give me 1 second for that.
Cool.
You don't pass the Arcana either. So for Dorsal, with an Arcana check, that dark feeling, the dark presence that was felt beforehand, is no longer present. Instead, there is sort of just traces of that magic, almost as if it's now gone and something left.
Can I look around to see if I can find any kind of tracks, or if I can perhaps follow the trail at all? If there's any kind of way I can sense the presence like that, or is that an option?
So there's So as you look around, there are no traces of it, like in the air or around this rock. It seems to be only linked with this rock particularly in the area.
Okay.
As for Keck, you fly up in the air and roll me a perception check. Keck? There we go. Sorry. It's a long pause. So, with a 16, you don't actually notice anything. It's a beautiful view. It is a very beautiful view. But as you look up and you look around, you actually can't see anything that is happening. There seems to be almost no traces of anything that has happened. If you want to roll Arcana as well, you can.
Yeah, sure, why not? Perfect.
You don't see anything the issue, not even with Arcana.
Okay. Keck will fall down very fancily, and then tell people at the bottom. So I don't see anything wrong with the sky where the portal was.
One more thing. Can I do a ritual cast for detect magic in the area?
Yes.
Did Yen Sidrick ritually cast anything while we were looking around?
He has mainly been looking at the inscription, and you can see with a little piece of chalk and a little piece of like paper in like a sort of notebook. He's like writing down notes and stuff. He's mainly paying attention to the rock itself.
Can I just shoot an Eldritch Blast into the air to see if it does the same thing again?
Go ahead.
Just straight up in the air.
Sure.
I mean,
You
I don't think it's
fire.
really a roll, but like, yeah.
Yeah, you fire straight up into the air. Well, I would have still had you roll for accuracy. So with a 19,
Okay.
you can accurately hit from just your memory as to where it was.
Yeah.
And as you shoot it up, it goes up and up and up and up and up,
Max 300 feet.
and you can't see it anymore.
Yeah, let's go.
Whatever was here
Weird.
probably just up and left.
Okay,
That
now
isn't
this might be
possible.
stupider.
There wouldn't have been an object here. I know what
do you know about-
happened now.
Yen
Okay.
Sidrick, I want to try shooting magic at the stone. Can you step back for a second?
That will be no use. You will end up just breaking it.
Ursa looks over. Don't break the stone.
Well, just
There is.
At least not yet.
Gather around, and I will tell you a story.
Did I already cast detect magic?
Oh, sorry. Yes, you cast Detect Magic. You can see the trace amount of magics on the stone. As you look around and do you, like, go a little bit away from the group and go back to the campsite at all?
I think I'm gonna.
Or do you stay with everyone?
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of try to follow our trail a little bit back. See, I'm super curious how the whole time dilation thing works because obviously we thought we were gone for this amount of time, and everybody else says we were actually gone for this amount of time. So yeah, I would like to go away from the rocks a little bit.
As you go back to the campsite, you find that there's actually no, like, how can I put this into words? You go there, and whilst you're looking around with Detect Magic, you see that whilst there are traces of magic kind of everywhere throughout the place, you can't actually. There's no. I'm just trying to think of how I can put this into words. It's not the same magic from the stone. It is something different. The magic that is here looks to be more illusionary than anything else.
Now, what? I guess my next question would be: is what part of it looks illusionary? Like all the age and all the cobwebs and everything?
it looks to be more upon the cobwebs itself. The plant growth and, like, the leaves and the debris and the messing from the animal are all real. But it looks like it just seems to be the cobwebs and the stuff that would, if you're just looking at it without any sort of magical vision, looks like it's an abandoned site from like a month ago.
All right. I don't have any kind of dispel magic or anything like that at this point, obviously. So I'm gonna go let Yen Sidrick know.
Mm-hmm. So
that
as you
all the
arrive
cobwebs
back,
and shit are fake.
he begins and says, "Sit down, everyone, and let me tell you a bit of a story. This happened a long time ago, before the events of No Man's Land. This world was once at war, constant war. War with a prince of one of the demon clans. Before our modern languages were developed, and before No Man's Land, and before the Tarasques."
Do we know any of this?
Yes, this is common
Okay.
history.
Okay.
This part, what he's referencing right now is common history. So
Okay, cool.
everyone grows up with this knowledge. Everyone knows what the No Man's Land event is. It is the first bit of history that was ever written down and has been kept and basically verified, and every nation of the world says, yes, this is what happened during this like point in time. This is like history.
Okay, cool.
There was a demon prince who dominated over the world. He had control of all of the races, including tieflings. At this point, none of you know what that word is. And Yen Sidrick, kind of seeing this, goes,
Does Saren know about it?
"Tieflings are another race. A race which was banished with the prince to the plains of hell, where they now reside. Tieflings were born of demons, and whilst many have demonic blood in them, there are many who do not, and who how their demonic blood diminished over time. Many of them have no special, unique abilities other than what they commonly use, which was mostly their horns, a bit of... They have dark vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
super
dark
a lot of
vision.
them have dark vision.
And their dark vision. Now then, he would summon the tieflings, and many of his highest ranking foot soldiers had his blood coursing through them, which gave them which gave the demon prince sole possession of them, making them do whatever they wanted, no matter what they themselves wanted. At a point in time, he had constructed towers across the land. This stone here is a remnant of one such tower. Many of the towers were destroyed entirely outright, leaving only a piece, such as this one. However, these towers were constructed out of a material that is almost indestructible. Do you all know the history of the Black Tower?
What is the time frame that these things happened in?
So, this is happening before written history.
Oh,
What he's
okay.
asking about now has happened is like a very recent history.
I assume you want to go over it either way, right?
Yes, I'll go over it.
Okay, yeah, that's I was gonna say because
So,
I wouldn't know.
the Black Tower. I wonder. Actually, we're gonna go over this on stream.
Have we not been on stream?
No. I meant because right at this very moment, all that we've had up was the D&D Beyond map.
Oh, okay.
Or
Yeah.
Roll20 map. I'm gonna go over it really quickly and bring up the timeline. So, going down, where are we? So, after the Saviors emerged, the Black Tower was constructed. The Black Tower housed what was a great evil. The Saviors stopped that great evil, and the tower inadvertently was destroyed by forces we do not know. Even today, we do not know, as the explosion was of a magnitude and such a force with magic that nobody in their right minds knew what had happened. It was a cacophony of all types and all elements of magic. The material, though, that the Black Tower was made out of was almost identical to this stone. This stone is nearly indestructible. Nearly. There are few things that can actually destroy it. One being magic. Another being the breath weapon of a dragon. Throughout the time that the Demon Prince reigned, there was a group underground, very much like a thieves' guild, hiding in the shadows, striking when necessary. And there was a point in time when I was part of that rebellion. Destroying the towers was the easy part. Banishing him, and he looks at the rock, was much, much harder. It took the lives of 2 dragons to fully banish the Demon Prince from this land.
Gasp. I mean, he's actually gasping, but I'm not gonna do that to a mic.
It's hard to keep up a ritual such as this, and the death of the dragons is a sign that he has grown stronger. When he was sealed, dragon's blood was used as the sealing agent. And from that blood, it connected to all dragons. Old, young, even ones who had never been born until a century later.
Wow.
He has been attacking the seal for many years. But he is now just finally getting through. The dragons are dying due to the fact that he has become strong enough to try to break this seal. As for when the seal will break, I do not know.
Is there any way to weaken him again, save the remaining dragons?
Not unless you have a one-way ticket to the plains of hell, in which case the current gods will stop you before you even enter the portal.
Why?
Travel between planes of darkness and planes of light has been forbidden for a while.
Isn't there like an intermediary plane that we could travel from?
There is.
But there's
Excellent.
always a boundary.
There is. However, this world has partially been disconnected from those intermediate planes.
Oh, we just got to reconnect. Okay.
That won't be so easy.
Well, I didn't think it would, but it'll be fine. I don't get to learn a whole lot of new things.
The barrier between the planes seems a little weaker than usual right now.
It is incredibly so. There is another issue that I also must make you aware of. I was actually going to save this for when we returned. But when all's said and done, I might as well do it now.
Dorso looks all giddy. It's like, yeah, tell me.
There is something happening within the theocracy of the Saviors. However, they do not like outsiders. Something that we will all have to get used to. However, this will be a more secondary priority. What needs to happen first is we need to find someone who will know of what is going on.
Do you have any leads or information on somebody that might know?
It all lies within the village of Graves.
Excellent.
Now then, we should... Can you guys hear that, by the way?
Yep.
Oh,
Only
yeah.
when you're talking.
Bug? Is it a
No,
bug?
The light gardening.
It's
chainsaw,
like a
whatever.
chainsaw thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like a really loud mosquito.
I hate that. My window's not shut right now because I can't find a fucking screwdriver. To close my window because my window is only closed by screws because it does not
It's
have
only
any side
intermittent.
openings.
It's only intermittent and it's only when you're talking. So
And your
mic isn't
significantly
picking it up
louder than
normally.
it, so it's not distracting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking if you guys can hear that or not, because it's loud on my end, which
Before
is why
we
I was
leave,
concerned.
Dorsal's going to go ahead and do some rubbings of those stones, the glyphs on those stones. And as he's doing that, he's going to mention to Yen Sidrick, so that campsite, I cast Detect Magic, and it looks like those cobwebs are all illusionary and fake.
Nox
So
would
somebody was
look
over
at-
there casting spells.
A wizard's trick? Yes.
There might be another reason for that.
I was going to say, I feel like there's something more going on if they're going to cast some spells on a camp that nobody's at. But they're all illusionary.
Heck is gonna poke one.
All right. Then we will have to leave this forest immediately. He
Should we
says this
go-
as it is nearly midnight.
Should we go peek about and see why there's illusion magic cast on the camp?
I know why.
Will you tell me?
He whispers into his ear seductively.
Dorsal's okay with that.
There are people who do not want us to succeed.
Well, that I understand, but why cobwebs on an overgrown camp? To
Throw us off.
Red herring?
It is a
exacerbate the
red-
age?
It is a red herring.
What the hell's a red herring?
A fake clue.
It's a type of fish that's red.
Well, yeah, I knew that, but that didn't make sense at all.
Pretty good. It tastes pretty good.
What was a fish or a bird?
It's a fish. It's a red fish. It tastes pretty good.
All right.
I'll,
Alright, just
I'll,
thought
I'll
you
get
should
you
know.
some red herring sometime.
It just seemed rather odd to, I mean, Dorsal was telling you in that. I don't know what you're talking about as far as like, I mean, I understand there's people that don't want us to succeed in whatever in the hell we're doing. That I totally get. I don't understand why they would cast cobwebs on an abandoned camp, though. That's where I'm.
I also
It is
find that kind of
only a
dubious.
distraction.
Oh, okay.
While we're with Yen Sidrick, I kind of want to pull him aside and ask him about the elemental darkness. If he knows
Oh, and he
anything about it.
also, I'm sorry to interrupt. He also mentions that he detected the feeling that when he found the rock, the imminent darkness and everything, or the smothering darkness, that he doesn't feel it in the area anymore. The dark presence, as if it's not there. And he mentions that to Yen Sidrick as well.
Was the dark presence more smothering or more felt internally, like around your heart?
I don't think we covered that in any specifics. I think it was rather palpable, if I remember correctly, but
So
I don't
it
think we
was a
really
more
covered that.
Smotherable feeling. Good. Good, good, good. If you feel it around your heart, don't hesitate to say, because it would have most definitely been a curse.
Ooh, that could be interesting. I'll have to learn about those.
Yeah, now I want to talk to him about I want to ask him if he knows anything about the elemental darkness.
Whispers to Nox. We would
Well,
know if
I
Dorsal
was
becomes
asking-
a lycanthrope, right?
What was that?
I'm trying to ask Yen Sidrick in private, though, kind of like, hey,
He walks
Homicide.
10 feet over and pretends like we can't hear him.
oh god damn it.
He goes, "What do you want to know about the element of darkness?"
Wait, not the. Wait, element of darkness or the elemental darkness?
They're the same.
Oh. I was I heard some information that to beware of the elemental darkness. And I was wondering what that was so I could be more prepared to deal with it if I ever have to.
The element of darkness is one of the seven elements of magic. You have your elementals: earth, fire, wind, water. I said all that right? Yes, okay.
Yep.
For a minute I thought I said one twice. Then you have your more primal, your light and darkness.
Combos,
That's 6.
ice.
What's the 7th?
The 7th is chaos. A magic that shifts as fluently as, well, as someone may change their mind within an instant. One instant it can do one thing, the next it can do another.
Well, that sounds worse than the elemental darkness. So why would I have been warned about that one specific?
For Fire Ganassi, darkness is more of a symbol than the element itself. When they are talking about darkness, they are mostly talking about death. The smothering of a flame brings darkness. If you know
Out
what
of
I
character. So was the advice just don't die?
No, there was a little more than that. The
Okay, cool.
elemental darkness was one bit of a warning.
Wait, what was the rest of the warning?
I don't have that note in front of me.
I
I don't have.
You
that
might remember
note in
it
front of
later.
me. I'll have to relook at the recording.
Yeah.
In any ways, for any race, elements mean different things. For Fire Ganassis, water is an enemy, whilst earth is a food source. And wind is a breath of life. Whilst light is ever good, darkness brings death. And chaos is just chaos. Chaos means many things within its own element. At times it's indecision, but others it's more refined. Something that can't be put in a box, such as teleportation magic.
Ursula looks up. Are you sure you can't box that? You gotta be able to contain it somehow.
Well, can you
Stop
box it
storing
into
ring.
one of the elements? Can you box it under one of the primordials, light and dark?
I'll get back to you on that when I do it.
Exactly. It's difficult to box many of these things, so they often get put under the same thing as chaos. But at its core, chaos is indecision. It is changing from one thing to the next. Nothing is ever the same and nothing is ever different. Everything changes.
Symbolically in the background, Keck is doing some flying tricks, riding turbulence.
So as Dorsal finishes doing the rubbings on the on the runes, he's gonna.
I did
go
have
ahead.
one more question.
Alright.
Which element would necromancy and other similar things fall under?
Traditionally dark.
So is it a warning about necromancy?
It could be as well. There are many, many things it could be. Oh great, I hear the bats again.
You hear
Sorry.
bats?
Yes. There is bats around here. I don't know exactly where
they
it's coming
protected
from, but it's on the roof, so I don't have
Tech
to worry about
crisis,
that.
Yeah, so I would like to, after I finish the rubbings, I also want to pipe up, and look at Yen and I go, oh yeah, I forgot to mention this, but now I think about it, could potentially be important. So when Dante touched that rune, the light kind of went out and just winked out. Thought you should know.
That's more of an activation than anything.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It's most likely drew from some of your magic that's naturally within your body and activated itself from that magic.
Oh, okay. Figured I'd tell you,
All
So he
living
wasn't
things
possessed.
have some ounce of magic within them. It's whether or not they can grow with it and expand its use, such as myself or others who use magic frequently, or choose to not develop it as much, such as like your average wolf.
Okay. I just figured fire ganassi, glowy red, otherworldly bad thing. Yeah, I didn't want him to become like a possessed murder hobo or anything like that.
Nope, mainly just an activation.
Pokes
Cool.
Dante as if that would check.
Punch him in the face.
Dante shatters into pieces. No, I'm kidding.
He was an illusion the whole time.
I'm kidding.
He was never truly there, just like his father was never truly his father.
So,
It's adopted
after
mongrel.
spending all night investigating, you guys come back exhausted after the day's journey. You guys arrive at your father's house, Dante, and you're all exhausted. This will be the first night you guys actually spend in a decent bed.
Our college beds weren't decent.
They're semi-decent.
Well, the only night we
college
slept in them, some of us were drunk.
This is true.
As you all go up, the butler, Alfred, shows you all to your rooms.
Before I walk away from Alfred, I would like to ask him, hey, do you guys have a library here?
Yes.
Or like a room with
the
books?
master has his study.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to ask.
I will pass the message.
I'm gonna have to ask Infernus if I can read some book.
I will pass the message along for you.
Oh, thank you, Alfred.
No problem.
Can I tip him, or is that rude?
You give him a
He says
piece of
this
gold
out
and
loud.
he goes, "Why, thank you, young sir."
Excellent. He's been
Minus
nothing but
one gold
fantastic.
for your character.
Oh, I did. Because he's been nothing but fantastic.
All
He
right.
is fantastic. He gets
So-
paid enough for it.
So,
I feel like
You're
my butler
all
is secretly
in
the most
bed.
powerful person in the house.
Knox, you are still awake. Where are you gonna go?
Oh god. I'd probably go out of my room into the central room for a time. Wouldn't put any of the lights on. And
there
he
is
would.
a lit candle in the hallway that you're in.
He would probably snuff it as he goes past.
Your black tendrils from your shadow are in the light, were clutching around the hallway. And when you snuff it out, they kind of grow more at bay.
He would probably pace back and forth a bit, like up and down past the doors until he'd get a pull in a certain direction.
You get
Make
a
snores.
pull
I don't know.
from Dante's room.
So yeah, it'd probably stop outside the door and listen very quietly for a minute. And the tendrils would start sort of creeping around the edges of the door and just under it, sort of around the lock and the handle and stuff.
Roll me a perception check. Dante is asleep.
Yay.
Good job, Dante.
Um,
Sleeping like a healthy
I'm
person.
gonna die.
Yeah, so Nox would carefully open the door.
As you open the door, you have to remind yourself to pull the tendrils in. As you see one almost like about to dead rear itself, you draw it back at the last second, and you kind of have to like calm yourself down a bit.
Yeah, he'd hesitate for a minute, get himself back under control, and then quickly check behind him in the corridor and step in and close the door.
There is nobody in the corridor.
Tandy would be a little awkward otherwise.
And after a nice long sleep, everyone awakes in their rooms, Dante included.
Kid gets up bright and early and starts trying to do stuff.
He's just bench lifting the bed.
He usually works out at night, but he wasn't able to last time, so he just gotta make up for last time.
Nox, as you're in the room next to him, you can hear this commotion happening. And you
Standard.
are awakened within your own room. And you are fully satisfied.
He's not usually very wide awake in the mornings because he's pretty nocturnal, so he would be surprised to wake up feeling pretty energized. And yeah, better than he's felt in a few days. And probably unusually up before some of the others.
You actually
sorry.
feel very energized. You remember this feeling for when you are mainly around people. And when you did what you did more often.
That's good to be back in society.
I forgot to mention, Dorsal only sleeps 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I think he wants to go to the library in the middle of the night.
I do.
The door would have been locked.
Okay, then Dorsal's gonna wander outside. He's looking for some sticks.
You find some sticks. As you try to re-enter, however, you are locked out.
Oh, okay.
And
So
you
he's
end
gonna
up
wander back out in the
waking-
forest.
You end up. Where do you go? Sorry.
He's just gonna wander out in the forest and look for more cool things in the middle of the
So
night.
you go around the house, you go around the gardens. It's empty. It's nice though, the moonlight and everything in the gardens. It's very nice, but kind of just like a bit lonely. When the sun starts to come up, Alfred unlocks the door and opens the back door, looking straight out to the garden, and he goes, "Oh, Master Dorsal, was it?"
Yeah, I don't sleep. I look over at Alfred and I go, "Oh, hi, Alfred. Yeah, I don't sleep very much, so I tend to wander around for the later half of the night or whatever part of the night that I don't sleep, and just look around, see what's going on."
I see.
By the way, did Infernus say it was okay to read some of his books?
Yes, he did actually. If you would like to follow me. And
Gladly,
he
I will follow him.
brings you up to the study, and he unlocks the door, and he goes, "Just make sure you clean up after yourself." And he leaves the door open.
Thank you, Alfred. So I'm gonna browse around. What kind of books does he have?
He has a lot of books. A lot of books on sailing, a lot of book on trade and business. There's not a lot of books about history or whatnot. There aren't a lot of like alchemy books. There are a lot of unlabeled books that when you go and enter in, they look to be written in some odd language that you don't understand.
Are there any books on? He's looking more for like engineering or
No.
magic. Okay, so then
There is one book about magic.
oh, Dorsal's gonna gladly start with that one.
The book is called The Kraken of the Pirates.
Kraken of the Pirates, and it's about magic. It's got magic.
Yes. The Kraken is summoned by a ghost ship that rears through the waters, and it appears almost like magic as it seems to come from the sky. There are a lot of different accounts upon like reports of seeing it and stuff. There's a report from there are reports even from Infernus that lays out the groundwork of report came in, another sighting of the ghost ship, no one approached.
Okay. Just based on the reports that I see within the book, and given I imagine I have a fair knowledge of, the areas that are in the book and what it looks like. Am I able to, well, I mean, I would imagine I would have to roll a check, but kind of triangulate it. See if there's an area that can be triangulated
So
as to where the ghost ship is often seen.
I'm gonna zoom out a bit. So it's pretty much found around around the Kraken's Republic entirely. There are reports from like over here, from like over by the capital, from like out way over here, out by the tower. They're kind of scattered everywhere. There's no main focus to them. And they mainly seem to just be around these peninsulas that make up the Kraken's Republic.
Okay. Like closer or further away, or there's no. That's all random.
It's all random.
Okay. So yeah, then I'm gonna just go ahead. The books that are unlabeled that appear to be in another language,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start reading those, and I would like to start scribing that particular language for later interpretation.
Sure. Go ahead.
X.
I'm going to put that in your inventory myself, actually. One second to just write down what it is and what language it is. All right. Interesting. All right. So as you start to do that, you hear a couple bells, and a servant comes by and says, "Oh, breakfast is ready. If you would like some Master Dorsal."
I ask him, can I eat in here while I'm reading?
Unfortunately, the master of the house does not wish that.
Okay, that's fair. Can I come back and read after I eat?
Sure.
Okay, I'll go.
Do
Yeah,
you
I'll
bring your notes with you?
Oh yes.
Okay. So you all
my
sit.
notes never leave my body.
So you all sit around the table, and as you're trying to like finish off like a word or something that was from the book whilst you're at the table. I'm just gonna give me 1 second to just let me bringing out real dice.
Ursula is a hoarder of all knowledge.
Oh, I dropped one.
Ooh, I wonder if he could design a book of holding.
That would be an interesting.
It's like a one-page
concept.
book that he can recall an entire book, and it's almost like an iPad.
You are sitting next to Saren.
Ooh.
Saren,
Morning.
do you
Good morning,
look at what
Saren.
he's writing down?
What happened?
Are you looking at what he's trying to be scribing at the moment?
Sure. I'll look over.
You
what you
recognize
got.
the language immediately.
What is it?
It's Thieves' Cant.
Oh.
Can't what?
That's a secret thieves guild.
Shush. You.
Like, what you trying to do learning,
It's a shipping manifest.
Oh, are you asking me what I'm trying to do?
Yeah, you're just trying to learn how to speak it, write it, or whatever?
Yeah, I like to learn everything, so I'd like to learn how to write it, speak it, and I don't know what it is, but I want to learn it.
I mean, it's basically criminal talk lingo.
Ooh, so you know what it is.
Yeah.
Can you read it and write it? Well, obviously, can you speak it?
Yeah, I can. Like, some parts of some family members are teaching me it because of rogue stuff, learning how to be a rogue.
It's weird that a
Ooh.
requirement for being a rogue is that you have to know thieves' cant.
I mean,
So,
'cause my family
you be
deals
able
with
to?
different stuffs, with like criminal, anti-criminal, whatever.
Yeah, you got to get through the day, fair enough. But I'm curious, would you be able to help me decipher this? I'm trying to put together, just like a kind of a basic alphabet, so I know I can learn what I'm reading and start putting things together.
Sure. I mean,
That's not gonna
as
get you in
long,
trouble, though, is it?
and I'm not gonna get in trouble. I can always feign ignorance on how you learn how to speak it. If you
Fantastic.
mix,
I
if you
like the way
spread
you
the
think,
word, that's
sir.
not my fault.
I like the way you think, sir.
Oh gosh.
I will take full blame.
Sure. I don't think that'll be a good thing for you, but you seem to get yourself out of anything through talking.
Yeah, trust me. I talk a lot, so they either just agree with me to shut me up. Either way, it works. Either we're friends or they don't like me, but they don't want me to talk anymore. I'll take it or leave.
All right. Then so he was basically copying down a shipping manifesto.
Yeah, it was basically like this ship carries this cargo, this ship carries this cargo. It's not like it's not like vital information. It's more of like 12 boxes of this is going to this place. 13 boxes of this is going to this place kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, I'll explain I'll explain, go over whatever he's copied down, and I'll try to start teaching him the basis of how thieves' cant would work for him to have an easier time deciphering it as it goes on.
Yeah, because I just what I want to do is put together a primer of, like the basic,
Yeah,
the letter structure, and then I can continue to copy these down and then translate it and double check with you to see if I've
yeah,
got it appropriate.
yeah.
Yeah.
All
But
right, so you guys are working on that. What is everyone else doing sitting at the table whilst this is happening?
Wait, I've woken up, right?
Yeah, you're at the table.
Okay. Wait, how am I feeling?
You're feeling fine.
Okay. Just wanted to double check that.
You don't feel any different from anything else.
Okay. I just wanted to check that because the whole
Dark and mysterious
visit
thing that
thing.
happened last
Yeah.
night that I will not tell you anything about.
Very, very mysterious, very dark. I definitely don't
just
know what
checking,
that
but
is.
guess you're super happily eating. It's like he'll be
Everyone.
I've got a.
So you feel fine, but everyone else, roll me a perception check. Except for Nox, because you know it's happened.
I'm going to roll it with guidance. So I get a nice 16.
Man, are you casting spells in front of us?
16.
It's a cantrip.
I know, but it's still got verbal and somatic stuff.
I
so
suppose. Then, if you really want to worry about all that.
It's
But
just
yeah.
like, oh, he's casting spells at the lunch table, I guess.
Yeah, pretty
Who
much.
the fuck has a +10 to their perception roll?
No one.
A lot of builds.
The DM.
Okay.
The DM. That's who.
That's okay. I almost took a first level spell that says no you. I had to ask about that shit.
Yeah, that was. I saw that on D&D Beyond's like homebrew thing, and I went, "This is hilarious. I never want to lose this again."
Yeah, I was gonna take the spell, but I was like,
No, it
Holy
was just
shit.
it's just the joke spell. All right, so
I
I
was
guess
like,
only
Have
3
you
people are
seen-
looking. Keck.
Have you seen the 9th level spell Aurora's Destroy Universe?
Oh yeah, that's
No.
another joke one. Don't do that one. Anyways,
It is terrible.
it is.
Deletes the DM.
So, Keck,
oh,
whilst you rolled the poorest of everyone, you actually recognize what's happened. Because you've been with Nox for so long, you sort of realize what has happened in your head. Everyone else, all the other people who rolled, and pretty much everyone else, whilst Dante feels perfectly fine, he looks a bit worse for wear. He looks a bit more tired, whereas he feels perfectly fine.
Can I do any kind of check, see if maybe it's in relation to one of our recent activities involving stones and a portal? Would I be able to link those?
Arcana check would be your first
Beautiful.
thought.
You're also, if you're gonna tell me that I kind of get what's going on, you're either going to need to
Oh,
tell me what's going on.
Oh,
or
oh,
tell
I'm
me what I know, or how
crafting a
I feel
message.
about it.
I'm crafting a message for you.
Okay, cool. Like, it's right now it's like, yes, you saw thing. Congrats. Like, what?
I rolled a 9. I don't think I understand what's going on at all.
No.
I just look over at Dante. You okay there, buddy? You look like you're,
Well,
like
I'm
when we got
feeling
drunk and you
fine.
got bit by a cat and fell on some glass. You feel like you're not doing so hot.
Nah, I feel fine. I'm just sitting there eating my Flamios. It's like Cheerios, but they're actively on fire.
No.
That's amazing.
No, you have eggs, you have a steak in front of you, you have eggs, you have like a freshly like half a loaf of bread.
A
You
voice
have
has a
that.
thought in the
you
back of
have
Dorthel's
some
mind.
orange juice
What if he
in
spent
front of
all
you.
night in the library and locked the door behind him?
No, I'm eating an anime protagonist meal, so it's just massive. There's just so much
Oh,
food.
that's why your hair is like that.
No,
Got that Goku
it's
hair.
just
I'll
so
take
much
the anime
food.
protagonist set menu, please.
Yeah. I'd like to have the anime protagonist meal, please. Thank you.
No.
And the rest of us have Food Wars meals?
No.
I mean, it's his butler. He can have whatever he wants to have.
It is it's just an excessive amount of food. It's just excessive.
Dorsal looks at Dante as he's saying this, and he goes, "Oh, you want your food on fire? I can set it on fire for you."
No. I'm okay.
Prestidigitation, it tastes burnt.
Your food is actively
Everything
on
you
fire.
tastes burnt now. No. Keck, did you see?
Okay, let me look.
Can I recall something from the Arcana check that I made?
Oh.
You rolled much better than I did, sir.
Yes. There is a slight. What kind of magic would it be?
Sure.
Daddy issue magic.
Yes.
No.
Daddy issue
Oh, okay.
magic.
There's
I was
a
just thinking.
slight. I can't think of what school of magic it would be.
Necrotic?
No, it wouldn't be necrotic.
Illusion. Wait.
It would be
What school
shadow.
of magic is dream?
So it would be more dark elemental.
Divination. If it's dreams, it's divination.
No, divination. It is divination.
Yeah, if it's dreams, it's divination.
How do you feel? Or sorry.
I don't know
Uh,
the details.
yeah, it's divination.
I'm just sitting
Sorry,
there
there's a lot
eating
of
my
behind the
food.
scenes happening right now, in case people
Yeah.
don't realize, because things for other reasons that yeah.
Yeah, Dante had a nightmare, or well, actually, it'd probably be more of a fantasy about some anal penetration by some black tentacles.
I'm sorry, what?
It's a regular nightmare for him.
Yeah, Dante's into some, we'll call them interesting things.
Dante, you actually do not remember any dreams from last night.
You, my fucking dream, you bastard. Nothing. I said nothing. So yeah, I'm just vibing and eating breakfast, waiting for
Yeah.
whenever we're gonna leave. Or
Alrighty.
very excited about a boat. That's all I'm thinking about. I want a new boat.
I love that you like to mess with it. Knock.
Knox, how we
I don't
doing
even
right
know how to
now?
respond to that.
Okay, so time goes on. Y'all eat breakfast. Um, everything goes good. There's nothing really too eventful happens. What's going on?
I'm gonna go back to reading.
Okay.
Well, actually, I'm gonna work with Saren on the primer for the Thieves' Cant.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we kind of get like that roughly worked out, I am gonna go take some time and go back to reading those unlabeled books.
Mm-hmm. What about everyone else?
Are you looking for the banned books?
The naughty ones. I'm looking for
I'm.
the captain's
Oh,
bunkhouse. Book.
when I was a kid, I found a book mimic, and there's one of them. No, no.
There is a mimic within the library. He works for the master of the house. He will devour
One of the
you
books
if
is a mimic.
you touch him.
You gotta open the bucket and bite your hand off. Oh, I think I'm an engineer.
Dun
Or
dun
an
dun
artificer.
dun 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 dun. Fight.
Make a whole new hand.
Arm blade.
That
I'll be able to
technology
hold
is
a
not
book
available
while
yet.
I'll be able to hold a book while I'm flipping Dante off.
Ooh.
Goals.
Anyways, so you work with them. Dante, what are you gonna do?
I'm. Wait. How many days until we leave?
For the village, um, he, uh, Yen Sidrick said a couple of days. You can double check with him if you want today. He is not at the table, however.
I'm going to go with Dorsal and just be curious about what he's reading.
Oh, yeah, that's
Or-
fair.
yeah.
You could just ask me.
What you reading?
I look at him and I go, well, I guess it's these books written in I'm gonna whisper this part to him, a thieves language.
Thieves' Cant?
Yeah, you know about it?
I've heard of it. I don't speak it.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, we're gonna go learn this language. You want to help? Well, I'm gonna go learn this language.
Sure. I can
All
try and
right.
learn some canting thieves. But I still
Sweet.
don't understand what they can't do.
Well, I don't. Do they really can't? Like, what is? I guess I'd have to know what a can't was.
Well, I mean, thieves can do a lot of things. So
No, I don't think
Put your
it's. I think that's the name of the
jokes, you're not
language, you
monkey.
goon.
I kind of want to find Yen Sidrick real quick.
You want to find what? I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh, you want to find Yen Sidrick. Sorry,
Sidrick.
it didn't process for a minute. You find him up in his room. He is mixing up a bunch of different things. He has a bunch of scrolls that are all sealed. He has a total of 2 of them.
Alright. Could I quickly tell what they are? Or what's inside the scrolls? Or
Make me Arcana
would it be
check.
one of those where I just like... Do-do-do.
You cannot tell what they are. You can tell that they are very powerful, though.
What is... Okay. I'll walk over. Okay, I'll walk over to
Oh,
him and be like,
yes, my boy.
hello?
What do you need?
I wanted to see if you knew any more information with whatever happened over in the Theocracy of Saviors.
Okay. Sorry, just got a resolution to something.
I thought I was gonna start that when school started, but this has been sidetracking us.
Yes. I am sorry about that. Yes, it has sidetracked us a bit. We will be discussing it. What I know right now is that something is happening. We will be closer to the problem at hand, but the intel I have is back at the college. It is not with me at the moment.
Okay. Also, what are the scrolls for?
Oh, the scrolls are protection scrolls. They are to protect all of you when we are in the fog.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to see if you had anything to bring with, just in case we find ourselves off in that island.
We'll need these. These will last a day. It'll be enough for the journey at hand.
All right, I'm gonna go back to helping my friends out. We'll go back to finding Dorsal.
Make me an insight check, will you? He is very exhausted and very tired.
You should get some sleep and walk out the door. And yeah, I'll meet back up with everybody who was going to the library.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you meet up with everyone in the library. You kind of just teach them all. Nox and Keck, where did you guys go off to?
Keck kind of zoned out of the conversation for a little bit. But he wants to go off to the town.
So you guys go into the town, and Keck, it is a rougher town than you expected. There are a lot of pirates in the area. There are a lot of people who want nothing to do with anything. And as you're kind of just like, oh hi, you get a lot of looks like, who the frick is this? And why the fuck is he so happy?
Keck might be a little bit too too happy to get into a brawl or a wrestle until literally pulled away by Nox.
Regularly, like re-aiming
Yeah,
him
like
and wishing he
this is the
still had that
normal
rope around his
way
neck.
that this is the normal thing that's happening throughout the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like everyone you meet, kind of thing. Even like the children are like looking at you with like strange looks.
Keck's also, I assume, like most people are wearing armor and weapons.
Yes.
Keck is inconspicuously wearing either of those things. He might have like some hand axes in his bag, maybe.
Nox, are you directing him at all?
As best I can to try and keep him out of trouble.
Okay.
Like whenever I see someone that he's about to walk towards and introduce himself and whatnot, I just like nope, not that one, and try and redirect him.
Mm-hmm. After a while, you guys actually enter into a bar. The bar is filled with a lot of people. This bar is open pretty early, and um, what you notice from the sign out front is that the bar is open 24/7. Can you both make me? Well, actually, no. Nox, you would be the one on alert. Make me a perception check.
Oh boy.
Is it plus 10 yet?
All right.
+5 for me.
This person does not take a large amount of perception to notice. He is out of place. He is darker olive skin. He is not wearing any sort of armor or any sort of weapons on him. He doesn't look fancy. He doesn't look rich. He looks normal, but it's weird. Seeing as he is filled in a room with people armed to the teeth with swords and axes and hammers and whatnot, for him to just be sitting here.
And how are they acting towards him? Are they like pointedly ignoring him, or are they eyeing him, or?
It seems like somehow you've lifted some sort of veil. It doesn't seem like anyone notices him. But you clock him almost immediately as something off.
Are there any free stools either side of him at the bar?
He is at a table,
Okay.
sort of in the center, but more so in the back of the room. And there are empty chairs.
Alrighty,
Keck would definitely walk up, and especially if Nox doesn't think it's the worst idea ever, be like, "Hey, someone else who doesn't need crunch weapons, am I right?"
He says
Crutch
nothing.
of weapons.
Ox would sort of stand near him, but not facing directly towards him, and sort of glance around the room. I'd assume noticing that people are staring at him, but oblivious to.
Nobody is staring at him.
No, but I mean staring at Nox. I mean, like when I say staring at him, he means himself.
But when you look, by the way, that's him. By the way, a little more darker skin tone and heterochromia eyes.
Ooh.
One eye blue, one eye red.
Harry Potter.
Some of you should recognize this. Anyways, some of you should recognize this player-wise. Anyways, Nox, as you look away to try to scan the room and look back, he is gone.
Does Keck still see him?
No. It is if you blinked and he is vanished.
That is so familiar, but I cannot remember. That's
If
gonna
I
mess with
wasn't
things a lot.
surrounded by pirates armed to the teeth, I would fairy fire the crap out of this room.
Do it
Ugh.
anyways.
Would you like?
Little spell, go.
Well, I mean, you could do a whole bunch of things. I mean, do you have like detect magic or something? So you could do
I do.
that. You could do a whole.
In
bunch.
that case, I would sit down at the table, look at Peck, and say, "Do you mind getting the drinks?"
Oh yeah, sure. Nice of you to be down for the party for the first time in a while. If ever.
I would I'd nod, pull my hood down a little bit, and while he's off doing that, I would focus on ritual casting, detect magic, sort of.
Are you gonna ritual cast it?
Discreetly.
So take 10 minutes.
Roll me a stealth check.
Sorry, I'm used to being brutalized by DM, so I do tend to try and save my spell slots.
Okay.
That's not subtle.
No, it isn't at all. There are many people who clock that you're ritually casting some spell. There are some people who are more so bracing what is about to what you're trying to do, but when you finish the casting, you see that people start to are now, instead of being like tense like they were before, they kind of relax a bit, knowing that you're just doing some sort of sensory effect to yourself. They shrug it off, mostly thinking that you're trying to do some sort of like protection spell, trying to like protect whatever you're carrying on you, your coin and whatnot. As you look around, you see no traces of magic. Nothing. Not a single ounce of magic in this room has been casted within the last 10 minutes, other than the ritual casting that you have done.
Well, he accepts the fact that maybe because he took his time to try and do it subtly, not subtly, that maybe he missed his opportunity. Did the chair move or anything?
No.
He was never there to begin with. Ooh.
It's all in your head.
Keck will buy drinks and come back and be like, weird how the guy just disappeared, right?
Nox's head would kind of snap up and he'd be like, "You saw him too?"
I talked to him. Didn't talk back. Rude.
Keep an eye out for him in the future.
Will do. And then Keck will move on to trying to challenge strangers to arm wrestling matches.
Oh my god. In all fairness, that'd probably go down quite well in here, so Nox would just stand at the ready to
Alright. Roll me, because I'm gonna skip some time over. Roll me like 3 d20s.
Okay.
Just standard d20s. Oh no, with strength.
Do you want it to be athletics? The wrestling / lifting stuff /
Yeah, do
thing.
athletics.
Come on then, Mr.
Wait,
Masters.
can I go to the bar as well?
You're in the room
like,
with
later?
everyone else at the moment. This is happening whilst you're all in the room. I will sidestep over to you guys in a moment.
Okay.
If I ever cared enough, I could rage and get advantage, but I don't think I do at this moment.
Alright, so I'm gonna sidestep over. As you guys are all in your room, all in the study, your father does enter at one point, and he goes, "Oh, carry on." and he kind of just leaves after that, just leaving you all to your own devices. Well, Saren is teaching you all the basics of Thieves' Cant.
Excellent.
Some hours go by, and you hear a bit of rustling downstairs. Keck, you lost all 3 of your matches.
He wasn't trying his absolute hardest in any of them, so
Nox sort of
Good
like
game.
pats him on the shoulder and is just like, "Don't worry, I won't tell anyone."
Immediately goes home and tells everyone.
God damn it, you're onto me.
I know the type. So after that, you guys, where do you guys go? Do you guys leave the bar and go back?
Sure. If there's anything else like interesting about the area, or if walking around talking to everyone all day finds us any interesting information, we might follow that. But otherwise, we'll head back.
All right, so you guys head back. At this point, who's there? So Dorsal, Dante, and Solvis. You're all learning Thieves' Cant?
No, Dorsal, myself, Dante, and Saren.
Yeah,
I'm
the 3 of us.
also at the library, but I'm just trying to find some other stuff.
Oh, okay. So you're just finding some other stuff. So Dante and Dorsal, at this point in time, can you guys both roll me? Oh, what can I have you guys roll?
Int saves.
Yeah, just roll a straight up intelligence roll for me.
I'm gonna roll that with guidance.
Is it a check?
Oh wow.
Otherwise,
No.
Oh yeah.
Dorsal,
I
you
did.
got
It
a
was
-1,
terrible.
so this is
These things
very
happen.
odd.
So
Mhm.
Dorsal,
Very odd.
you're like trying to learn it, but it's like sort of clicking and then sort of not clicking, mostly not clicking. Whereas Dante,
Well,
you're kind of just absorbing all this information. You're like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I wasn't trying to learn it. We were just trying to put an alphabetical primer together so that I could translate copies. So I could continue to copy the book and then translate per the primer to learn that way.
Yes.
I could see Thieves' Cant being one of the few things where that really doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't really work like that.
Well, I imagine there's some basic alphabet.
It might be like Chinese.
It kind of is. There is, but there also isn't. There's a lot of other like rulings and stuff with it. Kind of like what Keck said with like Chinese.
Okay.
So like, yeah, you're like guys are like trying to get this basic alphabet. Dante's just like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Dorsal, you're like, mostly not getting this.
Thieves' Cant's whole purpose is to be hard to notice and hard to decipher.
Oh, that's okay. Come back to it.
Yeah. So, Dante, you know the basic understanding of the alphabet at this point. So, if you want to try to study it further, I will allow you to do so and learn the language.
Yay. Thieves' Cant is still common though. It's just
yeah, it's like a written form of language. It can come up though.
Yeah,
it's not a verbal language.
It's speaking in code.
Yeah.
I have seen some people say it's a verbal language, but it's mostly things like name, and you're supposed to say like the cloud sky in response to name, and that tells them that you're a special whatever. It's a whole bunch of stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. Anyways, we'll go past this. I'm gonna skip forward some time. So after a couple days, Yen Sidrick comes down and he says, All right, we're ready to journey off. And Dante, your father goes, your boat, as ye promised. And he brings you off to the dock. And you find that it is not a small boat like you were thinking. It's a normal sized ship for back then. And he goes, this is the smallest one within my fleet.
Yay.
Which is just like a normal sized boat that needs a full crew to operate.
Wait,
I wonder, how are we? What? How?
Wait, is this like a what's it called? Sailing ship?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm wondering in terms of the stats, so I can put it in like the extras thing. Okay, so it's got the main deck, lower deck, the hold, all of that.
Yep.
How many people does it take to go forward and
30
maneuver
crew.
properly?
30 crew.
Ooh.
It takes 30 crew members.
And he goes, I also found ye a crew. And there are a bunch of people on board already trying to like get everything together.
Who's my first mate?
Watch out for ye Kraken.
I shall, father. Why am I damn British?
I do not know, my dear son.
I'll be convinced, guys.
Keck will whisper to Nox questioningly. A Kraken?
I'm pretty sure they're just saying that.
Wait, am I the captain of this ship?
Technically, my boy.
Yes!
Just don't tell any of them what to do, they know better.
Have you?
I know what to do. I've been training for this my whole life, you bastard.
They're older than you.
They are all significantly older than
Respect
you.
your seniors.
I still outrank them.
Have you captained a ship before?
I have not captained a ship, but I have
Then
been
why would you captain
working
a ship?
on... You know what? I don't like your attitude. I'm putting you in the brig.
Nox quickly shuts up.
Putting you in the brig. It's as a joke, but yes.
Alrighty. So.
But you cannot contain me.
I have put
feisty little turtle.
Christ.
I have put a sailing ship into my extras.
Okay. So, you all set sail. Inside of the captain's chamber during the first day of travel, Yen Sidrick goes over what's basically going to happen. And he basically goes, alright, so we will be able to land...
Really, what's the figurehead?
What figurehead?
The thing in the front of the ship.
On the front of the boats, there's usually
like
a figurehead.
Mermaid or an arrow or a...
The figurehead is empty as of right now.
Oh, right. Because you can get boat upgrades later for like 1,500 gold, I think, according to Saltmarsh, but whatever.
Yes.
Yes.
Anyways,
you're gonna play boat
Yen Sidrick goes and says, we'll be landing here, outside of the fog. We will then be traveling 3 days into the peninsula. When we hit that 4th day, we will have to make sure... When we are about to hit the fog, I will cast these scrolls upon all of you. And he has 7 scrolls in his hands. One for himself and one for all of you. It is imperative that we only stay there for 1 day Afterwards, we will all die from the fog.
What?
The fog
Hmm?
will kill all of us. These scrolls will protect us from the fog. Do
So you're
not worry.
Okay.
I have done this before. I needed a
I
couple
thought-
of days because these are very high level scrolls.
I thought it was more like a metaphor of where we're going.
No,
Like, oh, this is like the valley of sound or
the
whatever.
fog
Okay.
will kill.
So it's like a poisonous fog.
No, it is necrotic. It is necrotic in
Sounds-
nature.
It's a lot like poison.
It's a
Sounds
fog
like
of
wizard for
death.
poison.
Oh god, this is literally just a fog of death.
I thought, yeah, right? Like, I thought it was more like,
Valley of the Sound.
it's like, what? I thought, like,
Valley of the Sound.
oh,
There's just like a hum the entire time there.
Man, I thought it would be a misnomer. Like like Fog of the Death
Hey.
was actually a pretty nice place, and then the one over next door is like Green Meadow is the one that kills you.
yeah, exactly. Like, okay.
At the second
Guess I
day,
gotta pick up some geography classes when we get back.
on the second day, you guys reach shore. Now remember, it'll take a couple days to get there. Let's go. And he leads you all onwards from the ship. Next time, Dragon Ball Z. No, I'm kidding. But we will be stopping here for today.
Cool.
No.
We will find out.
We didn't even get into any bar fights.
We will find out what happens next time with the bar and everything, and what happens
what did I
next
miss?
time with
Sorry.
the fog.
We went on a ship and traveled for a couple days.
Oh,
It was
sweet.
real quick.
I'm on a boat.
Yes.
I
Did
have
you do
a
anything
boat
cool?
now.
And now we are on to
have
the
a boat.
day's travel.
You saw my training. One day I did a whole routine with music and everything.
Oh God. A little bit of Christina Aguilera.
Probably.
Stronger.
And you said we're ending for today?
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
Alrighty. I will see you all next time.